Good afternoon. I'm Nadine Gilbert, and this is our class podcast, Thinking Out Loud. I have 5 guests with me, and let's start with our resident Sox fan, Billy O'Brien.
Hello, I'm Billy O'Brien. I am a sports anchor for CNTV, and I've also broadcasted a couple sport games this year, basketball and softball.
I'm Maya Hall. I'm a journalist in training with a hope specialty in sports, but I love all news.
There you go. Why don't we...
I'm John Free. I'm a producer here at Korea News Television, and I'm very excited to do this.
I'm Imtiaz Mateen. I'm a journalist and I'm learning television production here.
I'm Kiana, and I'm a producer, director, and editor here at Korea News TV.
Terrific. Now I have some questions that we've come up with, and it has to do with journalism and broadcasting. And I guess the first one starts, we keep hearing from our current president that it's all fake news, it's fake news. But can the public still trust what they see on TV?
I think any major news organization that's national news, whether it be Democrat-leaning, Republican-leaning, whatever, you cannot trust them whatsoever because they have too much money behind them. There's too many private interest groups that are sticking their greedy thumbs into their budgets and deciding what gets on the air and what doesn't get on the air. I think the only news we can actually trust right now is going to be our local news stations because they don't have billion-dollar investors behind them. Investors.
But, sounds like a bunch of conspiracy theorists. Maya, are you joining this?
Well, I will say, not all news is fake news, but you will have to take news with a grain of salt. Yes, local news, I guess, is better because it is your local area or rather than nation news. But there is some truth to some of the news. It's that you have to have that passion and that to kind of dig a little deeper to know what the truth is and know what's not, because there is some truth in it. People don't get their sources or their information they don't pull it out from wherever. They do get it from somewhere or someone that is a first source. But again, you have to take it with a grain of salt, and you can't just believe everything that you see on TV, on the internet, or anything that everyone says. You got to do your own research.
And that, to me, shows the value of education. It's up to you to do your research. Now, Imtiaz, you're a resident journalist. You're famous in your country. Where do you fall on this? And you're newer to the U.S.
Yes, because I believe the media has been controlled much more here because so many few groups are controlling most of the major media. I saw a documentary, but it was said that 20 years ago there were 13 groups in the media which controls all the major television stations. Now they are 4, maybe they left on 3. So they manipulate according to their wishes and all the media. So because of this problem, local media groups are emerging, and even the individually people who left their jobs for some reasons, they have started their own podcast and they have started their own free journalism.
And that's actually the beauty of television and podcasting. You can turn it off or not listen if you don't like it.
Yeah.
Should we, Kiana, you haven't spoken yet. Should news organizations stamp document news stories or photos as AI generated if they are AI generated, or do you want to contribute to what we were saying earlier?
It depends, because maybe they want to put their own watermark on it. If you want to do a report, if you're a podcaster and you want to do a report on whatever story, the news station might want to put their watermark on it. So they won't want to mark it as AI because they want to put their own watermark so you can use it in your podcast.
My thought on that is, well, if you work for a station, the station is going to put their logo, they're putting their name behind it. But if it's AI generated, I would prefer to know.
It shouldn't be a realistic because of the realistic picture might confuse the people. But if it is illustrated or something like that, the animated picture, so people can understand that it is AI generated, not a real one.
I think adding an AI generated watermark would actually be amazing because I know I'm young, but I kind of sometimes do believe those real illustrations. I can't tell the difference. I think AI is getting better every single day,
Yeah,
and
not everybody
sometimes
has 3 hands, you mean?
yeah,
Or
sometimes
not like 8 arms sticking out. Like
sometimes
that's-
I'm not looking too far at the hands, and I'm just looking at the face, and I'm like,
I'm
wait,
with
this
you.
looks really real. So I think sometimes even just, and that's for the really bad AI,
Yeah.
or the really the AI that's done very well.
Yeah.
I can't sometimes tell the difference. Where I'm like, did I miss that scene in the movie? I'm not sure.
See, and I'm like you. I can't tell. I often miss that third arm. Someone's like, "Didn't you see the shadow? Didn't you
Like,
see
no,
the
I did
different
not."
colors?" But I do. I want to know things are authentic. I mean, how else? How did you figure out things were authentic when you were reporting in the
Somebody
past?
was shown on the mainstream media with the 6-7 fingers with a holding a glass of wine. So people, because of the Netanyahu was away from the camera for a few days, so they released his photos in the movie that with the 6-7 fingers.
Oh jeez.
That's the problem. I mean, I believe people are getting more and more skeptical. But, how do we, verify authenticity? What do you do? Or both of you have brought me stories in the past. So what do you do?
I think the biggest thing you have to do is you have to get first-hand accounts on the story. That's the most important thing. Someone who was there at the event or whatever you're covering. And I think the second most important thing, equally as important, is you need to get multiple perspectives and multiple people's informations. There was a great movie that I watched about journalists, and the rule was you got to verify with at least 2 other sources about what's going on. I think that's a very important standard to uphold, especially nowadays in the age of AI, as you were just mentioning. If we're going to start marking AI, we need to start using that method of verifying 2 other sources on what information, because not only can the AI generate images, it can also generate text messages,
Fake news.
stories, literal fake news that it can do,
Voices.
voices. It can,
Yeah.
you could have a whole AI generated newscast just like this, and all you have to do is type in a bunch of prompts and hit send, and the AI will do it.
Okay, how would you feel about an AI generated, well, both of you, newscast or sportscast?
For sport wise, I would be fact checking them. I think we all need to check our facts and be like, hey, wait a second, is this part true or is AI off a bit with this one? Because it's easy to see a video and be all like, oh my gosh, it happened for real, wow, but we don't seem to sit and go, wait a minute, did that happen? Or is this AI and someone's trying to yank our you-know-what's with it?
I would not like any of that. I think that people are doing a lot of things with AI just because it's a little easier. You can do more, you can access more, you can maybe have a little bit more theatrics, but I think AI takes away from the human aspect, and that's exactly what sets things apart from AI is there's a human aspect and a human creativity within it. So I don't think that AI anything, newscast or show should be produced just because I want to be in the show for real. I want my body on the show. I want my body at the desk. I don't want a fake me, a robot me out there somewhere.
Yeah, you can use AI you can think that it is much more advanced of the Google search engine, so you can search very easily on the AI. So you can find many sources at one time. You don't need to spend more time on Google to search more because if you type a prompt, he will give you um, 4 or 5 sources of instantly or so better it can pick the news, so you can judge very easily the facts with the AI. And otherwise, other thing is that it is much easier to get better translations from one language to another language.
Oh, there's definitely value in AI, for
so
sure.
you can
None of
use-
us can dispute that.
So-
There's some value in
So
some
you
use.
can use your creativity. Like I'm very confident with my language, own native language, so I can type things and just send this whatever I wrote and translate it into English and ask to improve the text, so it can also improve the text also. So there are so many better aspects, but you cannot use for fake news. Yes, that is journalistic your duty to check the facts.
Kiana, well, have you run across AI? Do you use some of the, no? Okay. I mean, I think with you, MT, as you talked, well, you mentioned it, the human aspect, because people have asked, is AI going to replace broadcasters? My view is, I would hope that, because there is a human aspect to the news. People connect with newscasters or certain reporters or whatever. You look like you want to say something.
I mean, for someone who wants to get into the sports broadcast, I hope that doesn't happen because, let's say for a scenario, I get hired to be the White Sox play-by-play announcer. Awesome. But then all of a sudden, I get replaced by an AI Ken Harrelson. As much as I like Hawk Harrelson, one of my all-time broadcasting idols, but try go to every single White Sox fan. I think they would rather want to hear a human voice compared to AI Ken Harrelson. Don't get me wrong, Ken Harrelson was a legend in Chicago. Better than Harry Carey, I'll throw that out there. But nobody wants to hear like a robot version where he would probably sound more like, and sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way.
I think they could actually fix that. I mean, I like the human emotion, like when you're how many walk-off home runs or runs did the
Yeah.
White Sox, I'm a
Put on
White
the
Sox
board.
fan, so, I mean, I'm yelling at the TV, but anyway, Maya, you continue, we'll get off that Hawk
I
Harrelson
don't think
subject.
that I personally, at least in my lifetime, I don't think that AI will be replacing journalists, but I do think that it will be used more often. There are certain things that AI can do for certain news corporations, like maybe like writing articles or even just like maybe even like shortening down like a piece that they put on the internet, just things like that. That's something that AI can be used for like beneficially, but like maybe something for like editing a piece or something like that. I don't think AI would be the best to do it because again, like you need that human, the left and right, front, like the lobes and everything to like
Because,
figure that
AI
out.
cannot think itself.
It can.
No.
AI is used.
No, it just grabs everything it
Exactly.
sees out
Ask
there.
question
Yes.
after
Yeah.
question after question, then you can get your result because it searches because it has a library so you cannot go to. It is the time to invest more time in, especially in news media. You don't have the time to spend in libraries and searching so many things. So now the AI can work for you to find out the facts, so many things, but you have to spend time with it and ask question after question and after question, then you can get the right information.
Yeah.
And with
Well,
that and all that time, it's like you might as well just have
So
done the
you-
job
Yeah.
yourself.
What you
Yeah.
talked about, verifying with your
Exactly.
sources
And
that
I-
were there or are familiar with the
And what
subject.
I wanted to add to this was AI. Well, I'm going to be the realistic person here and also the pessimist. There are certain jobs that AI is going to take in
Yes.
news, specifically in the writing field, because now you can walk into any news station. They're going to expect you to know how to write, edit, shoot, and produce all in one. You're going to be wearing multiple hats, and I think AI is going to be a tool used to assist you in that, which unfortunately means there's going to be less jobs overall in the field because AI is going to be a tool for a select few that's going to be able to do a news show like this. But there still needs to be that human element because an AI cannot cry, it cannot experience any emotions, happiness, sadness, despair that you can convey through a news show like a human can. AI cannot do that. That's why you still need humans.
Well, a lot of I'm sorry,
And
I'll
the-
give you
the-
one
The,
sec.
the other thing I want to add is even in music wise, AI cannot like indict a guitar, a drum, or a bass. Small story I got, there was one class I had with Joe Goldberg as my professor, and he was saying like send in like an AI cover song because that was literally one of our assignments. The song I sent him was Jim Croce, a dead musician, singing Jimmy Buffett, who recently died at the time of one of his hit songs, Come Monday. And I kid you not, he was pretty upset, but not upset enough to where he would have yelled at me because he was a big Buffett fan. He was kind of like, "You're killing me." I was like, "My bad."
I
mean,
actually liked both of them, but I love Jimmy Buffett.
but that's the other thing. Even at times with music wise, there can literally be a dead musician singing a real life person's cover.
I hate that.
Like just imagine for a minute. Imagine John Lennon singing Ringo Starr's what's one of his songs? Photograph.
Okay.
That would be really creepy.
Yeah. But you know what? When we get to AI, and then we can get on to another subject, one of the things I like it for is for children's news. Because you can tell AI to take an article and put it at a third grade level. So a child can understand it in a classroom. It's also good for, let's say, adults and children with learning disabilities. You can, I don't want to use the word dumb it down. That's not it. You're putting it at a different reading level. So there are some great uses.
But
But
I
I-
have a quick question on
Okay.
that, though, or not question, but a quick thought on that. I feel like that is a good way to use AI when it comes to telling news. But I feel like educators or people that are educating people, like they know how to educate on the level that they need to
They should.
educate. They should.
Absolutely.
So I mean, using AI for that, I think that kind of takes away the being able to figure out how to bridge that gap, and that's what kind of takes away from it is you don't know how to figure out how to bridge the gap between how you're educating whoever you need to educate.
Yeah, unfortunately, with budgets getting tighter and tighter, what I fear, you've got all sorts of levels. You'll have 40 kids in a classroom, and their levels are from, let's say it's a third grade classroom. It's a non-reader who should be pulled to learn. They're not going to learn in a reading class 100%. They have to be pulled part of the time, but all the way up to someone doing high school level work. So sometimes it would help, someone access the materials is what I'm talking about. And I mean, I think it's having a child with dyslexia. It's a terrific use of the product, let me tell you, because unfortunately not every teacher knows how to, educate a student with any type of disability, for that matter, which we're getting a little off subject, which probably doesn't matter, but let me ask you about social media. You guys are, MT and I are about close, maybe, but social media, is it a news source? Should it be a news source?
It can be. It definitely can be. There are certain things. Again, I will put this in for TikTok and Instagram, for example. I go on TikTok a lot. I am a TikTok person, or also on Instagram. There are a lot of, again, it's not like, I won't say it's not credible news, but there are individuals who have taught me a lot from watching TikTok videos and educating me on a topic I have no idea about. They have their news sources, but I don't think it's primary news, but it's a place where you can be educated how you should be on like a news source. maybe you couldn't watch the 5 o'clock news. Someone else is there recapping what was on the 5 o'clock news. They're saying the exact same thing that was on the 5 o'clock news. They're just doing it, and you're watching it probably because it's a creator that you enjoy seeing. It still is entertaining, and I didn't mention this before, or it was something that came to my mind while we were also discussing. Sometimes, I don't know why, but sometimes news can be entertainment. It's getting to a point where that it is entertainment now. So it's, even though it should be, all credible news and things to inform the audience and everything, it is entertainment.
Yeah, a lot of times in the morning I watch WGN, or it's recording for me, and I love the 9 at 9. It's amusing, but I still learn what has gone on during the night that I missed while I was sleeping.
I don't use social media at all as a news source, but I think you have to be very careful when you get your news from social media
Yes.
because it spies on you. There was a whole thing where the US government bought TikTok from China so China wouldn't get our data and use it to spy on us. That's what the algorithm is trained to do. It gives you news based on what you're watching. It tracks every single swipe you ever do, every like you ever make, every comment you ever post. It's tracking that. And it puts that into an algorithm to give you content it knows you're going to watch. Which is why you have to be very careful with news, because if you're watching Fox News all the time and you're scrolling that on Facebook, that's all Facebook's ever going to give you is more Fox. You're going to hear more of Donald Trump waving his arms around, being a crazy person. That's all you're ever going to hear. So.
Although, you know what I'm getting now? All those puppies that were,
Aw.
from that research facility in Wisconsin, all those beagle puppies. Touching grass and seeing daylight and having a home for the first time. It's like you should see, my Facebook's filled with them, but obviously that's what I use it for. I think you can get some of your news, but it goes back to, you have to take it all, in my opinion, with a grain of salt.
And some of the other times it's not bad to also Google it just to double check, because one of the times I truly use Instagram is for sports news, and I do a sports podcast anyway called Bill Man Sports Guy. Check me out on YouTube, by the way, and Spotify.
Shameless plug, but go on.
That's not shameless plug. But if a sports news will pop up, I'd be like, ooh, that's cool. But if there's one that I'm not sure, I'm like, wait a minute, let me Google it up, and then if it doesn't happen, I'm like, oh, I will not report that, because it's someone trying to be like, look here, the news, all that.
Okay, well then, moving a step ahead, what if you're reading one of your sports blogs or seeing something wherever, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and it's, in your opinion, incorrect? What do? Do we tell Facebook to pull it, or should it be pulled? What should we do about news that really isn't accurate?
Here's the problem. And this also goes to part of what I said way earlier with the 24 hours newscast. There is not any accountability. There's for Fox News, let's say if a sports thing isn't right, the big head person would be like, oh, nah, leave it, it's fine. But then we don't sit and go, hang on, my bad, I got this wrong. Let me take it down. That's the biggest clumsy part with media, is there's just some people who apparently don't want to take accountability, which I'll never understand.
A lot of people feel like they have some First Amendment right that I can say whatever I want and post whatever information that I want, but
Tragically.
that's just, you're not going to get put in jail for that. You should still have to be held accountable. If you are a news source or somebody who posts misinformation, your stuff should be taken down. This website, Facebook, TikTok, whatever, should take your information down and discredit you as someone who is not giving out accurate information. You should not be allowed to post information if that's what you're doing, because that can cause actual harm.
But
we
then
do have a First Amendment, though.
Yeah,
But
yes.
you know what? As a lawyer, I know the case, shouting, they say you're not allowed to shout fire in a crowded theater. Well, I don't know if technically in the laws it says don't shout fire in a crowded theater. What if there is a fire? Yes, please yell. But if you cause an uproar and a panic, you should be prosecuted. The problem I see it is who makes the decision? Is it my decision as to what's fake, or that's just plain wrong? Or, and I think I cut you off, so go on, Billy.
You're fine. So one of the things I did earlier on my Billman Instagram account was the Edmonton Oilers fired Chris Knobloch. I hope I said it right. And I immediately posted because in my head I was like, wait a minute, this is breaking news. I gotta post it. But let's say if it didn't happen and someone could easily send a comment saying, hey, that's wrong. The thing we could also do is post on our stories, which is a feature on Instagram, going, hey, my apologies. It's been taken down. But
that's kind of chips out your credibility when you post things that are wrong.
exactly.
Exactly, that's
Yeah.
very true.
And to your point, like, or what if, I mean, I don't know why I think of the whole "don't get shot by a bullet" commercial. That was like in the 1960s. I don't know. I thought I saw like an ad, but that was probably like many
I'm
years ago.
too young for that.
No,
I might be too young for that.
You are.
But
Sometimes we're just like, wow, okay. That's where everyone believes fake news because nobody has discernment.
You know, they are teaching classes. I remember during the pandemic, I had to sit next to my son who would get up every 30 seconds if I didn't watch him. His English class tried to teach that. And I was kind of surprised at what these are people with, most of them, very educated parents in our school district. And I was surprised what people believe. But they really do try to teach that in the schools now. I think more people need to take it more seriously. I think it needs to be taught in more classes. Why isn't a science class? You know, we're talking about things you talked about earlier. A science class should be teaching people how to discern what is true and what is false.
Artificial intelligence for teaching lessons, because it has the ability to generate movies and diagrams and very quickly, so you can show the kids or whoever the student is the animated movie how things are working, and because you read something and you have to understand, but you can better understand if you see them. So so it is easier for people to understand the things which are very difficult to understand in our traditional way of education, which is the old style. Maybe people will see the changes in next 10 years. The style of education change because of the AI.
here's the thing I'll challenge with both of you. What if AI gets it wrong?
Yes.
Then
AI
needs,
gets a lot of things.
It
wrong.
gets a
think-
lot wrong.
Oh,
Yeah.
it sure does.
And also too, to the point that I hit on is like credibility. Like the reason why people don't take misinformation down is usually because it can, even though somebody be like, oh yeah, it is wrong, it still chips at somebody's credibility, and people don't want to take, like you said, the accountability that they were wrong. And if they do, then who knows what happens after, and they don't want to risk that.
Unfortunately, we are running out of time. So I probably need to get closing thoughts from you. I mean, does anything worry you about the news? Is there anything I haven't given you an opportunity to say that you would like to say? Who would like to start? Kiana? No? Okay.
Let's say something.
Maya? We'll go ladies first.
I'm glad you read my mind.
I think that anybody that wants to go into news and pursue a career in news, they should not get discouraged by the AI and whatever is going on with the things that thinking about what can be replaced and what can't. You are a human at the end of the day, and at the end of the day, like we need you as a human. So keep working.
Okay, we have about 30 seconds left, so, or less than that.
Keep grinding, and we need more human journalists, not too many robots.
No robots at all. All
Ah.
human.
In media, we should not, in news media especially, you can use in entertainment to generate something, or maybe you can a breed of new kind of media.
Okay, I'm gonna have to cut you off there.
Okay.
And we have a couple seconds. Thank you for watching. I guess that was a great discussion.
Oh, very.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Go White Sox.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that was great, everybody.
No,
That
good
was
job.
great.
Yes.
Everybody talked. Yes.